Hello, Musto0063 back, finally, for part 14 of Pokemon AshGray. All those niggling little health issues, so cough, sore throat, etc. should be all behind me. And the technical difficulties should all be behind me as well. So these stupid internet browsers are pretty much on every device I own, computer, laptop, whatever, just absolutely slow as all hell. But yeah, managed to finally get a emulator version working, but of course I have had to start from scratch again. So yeah, that's what's taken me a little bit of time to get back to where I was previously. I think it was about 9.5 hours I was in before, and I think as at the time I've got now, it was about, that was not what I wanted to do. That was still not what I wanted to do. Forgive me if we sort out all the button presses again. That was not what I was, still not what I wanted to do. I didn't want to go to options. Good grief. Save, that was the one I wanted to go to. I'm not actually going to save because now I'm playing emulator version. I've got, like, obviously save states or whatever, so I'm just using that. I mean, that's probably the way to do it really anyway now. But as you can see, I think it was about 9.5 hours previously, and now it's just shy of 9 hours, 8.75 hours. So it's taken me a little less time to get back to where I was. Just good, obviously good, and principally because obviously I knew a bit more about where I was going. So didn't get caught, for instance, in the caves with Squirtle and such like that when I was figuring out what on earth to go there. So they didn't, wasn't mucking around anywhere near as much there. So yeah, I think I'm pretty much back to where I was. That does mean, of course, that because I've had to sort of essentially to start again, then I haven't got my Pokemon team exactly where or how it was before, but it's pretty much there. So I'm actually just going to quickly show off. So yeah, pause for a moment and actually show off the Pokemon that I had on the before and now what I've got, and yeah, that I've got now. So here you can see the differences in my Pokemon team. So the ones on the left-hand side were the ones I had on my previous save when going through the internet version, and now on the right-hand side is the save that the Pokemon that I've got in my current team playing on the emulator version. So particular apologies for Pikachu. I obviously leveled him up to got him up to level 36 where he was level 35. So yeah, apologies for that. So it's not a really quite a direct comparison, but I think even if you added 2 to every of Pikachu's stats on the left-hand side, I think overall I've come out with a better Pikachu. Yes, his HP might be slightly lower, and I think even if you added 2, the attack might be slightly lower, but the defense and the defense would be the one that's significantly lower, but the special attack is significantly higher, which is probably really good for Pikachu with Thunderbolt probably being his go-to weapon. Special defense massively better, and speed massively better as well. So I think all things considered, I got a better Pikachu out of the deal. Obviously, I was not mucking around with I didn't even think about doing this until about halfway through anyway. Even then I just sort of rolled with what Pokemon I got. But yeah, I obviously potentially could have engineered it so I'd got a very similar set of Pokemon to what I had before, but at the end of the day I just thought that's going to take way too much effort. So I went ultimately with the first Pikachu, or the first Pikachu I got from Professor Oak, and all the other Pokemon that I caught or were given for whatever reason. So yeah, I think I got a much better Pikachu. On the flip side, I think I got a much inferior Pidgeotto. So HP lower, attack lower. Yeah, okay, fine. Its defense is significantly better, but its special attack's lower, its special defense is lower, its speed's lower, and I think overall probably got I got a pretty inferior Pidgeotto there, so not great on that front. Charmander, I think it's probably about much of a muchness on that one. I think it's HP a bit better, attack a bit better, defense a bit better, but then special attack a lot lower. Special defense a bit better and speed quite a bit lower. So maybe all things equal there. I don't know. I think Charmander was probably about the same. I don't see like too much difference there in the Charmanders. Bulbasaur, I think I did much better out of that deal. So yeah, HP slightly lower, but attack better, defense better, special attack better, special defense better, and just slightly below on the speed. So yeah, I think I got a much better Bulbasaur. Squirtle, I think was sort of one of those ones where you could sort of take it or leave it in terms of what I had previously, or in terms of what I've got now. I think it's probably about the same. So HP slightly better, attack slightly better, but defense lower, special attack lower, special attack higher and speed. Special defense higher and speed higher. Maybe slightly better Squirtle. So yeah, probably didn't do too badly there. And it's a good thing I'm probably not going to be keeping Primate for too much longer, because in the anime obviously Ash is going to end up giving Primate away. But holy God, did I get a pretty crap Primate. HP the same, but attacks massively lower, defense massively lower, special attack about the same but lower, speed about the same but lower, and special defense just again slightly higher. But gee whiz, terrible, terrible Primeape compared to what I had previously. So yeah, I think I lost out on that front. So yeah, I think my Primeape and Pidgeotto are quite a bit worse. I think my Pikachu and Bulbasaur are quite a bit better. Squirtle maybe slightly better actually, and Charmander probably about the same. So I think all in all I can't really complain. Particularly actually I think since I'll say one of the Pokemon that I think is pretty bad in comparison is Primeape, and yeah, I'm not going to have Primeape for too much longer. So yeah, that's my Pokemon. That's how my Pokemon have turned out this time around. I've obviously all their natures and all that kind of things are completely different as well. I haven't bothered showing that off, so I don't pay too much stock into them anyway. But yeah, that's my current Pokemon team, and as you can see, apart from Pikachu, which is just very slightly. One level higher, but it was at the top of sort of level 35 on the experience point of view anyway. So yeah, not massively different there. I've kind of got them. I've kind of effectively tried to get back to pretty much the exact same point where we left off before, and that was me getting my arse handed to me by Erica. So back to the game proper, and yeah, well. Unfortunately, with such a long delay that I'm not going to have sort of a mass. I'm going to end up having a massive progress kind of video here because yeah, this is going to be one of those times or one of those moments where I get to talk a little bit about my sort of history with Pokemon and such like that, and I'm going to do another set of my favourite kind of character countdowns because yeah, basically at the moment Erica is. Way above the level that I'm at in terms of her 3 Pokemon, Tangela, Weeping Bell and Gloom, such that I'm going to need to spend quite a bit of time, methinks, getting my Pokemon leveled up a bit more. So yeah, and unfortunately there doesn't seem to be sort of many places where I can actually do so. So I don't want to get ahead of myself in the story, so I don't want to kind of go through. I can't get into Saffron City that way. Lovely. I have to go all the way round. Lovely. Yeah, okay, fine. It's back past the Butterfree area, and yeah, fine, wonderful, lovely. I think the only areas are on the path to where the Lavender Town. Between Saffron City and Lavender Town, so get out of the bleeding way. Oh, and of course I pick the bloody one where there's where there's a dead end and I can't get through. So fantastic. Actually, while I have the forethought at the moment, I'm just going to quickly pop into a Pokemon Mart and see if there's anything else I can actually get. I think I use my Revive, which has got to be. I think my money was roughly about the same as I got previously. I might have a few extra items. I think I've got a few extra potions because one particular fight went a lot better than it previously did. I've got one fewer rare candies though, because one of the rare candies that I think it was at the Cerulean City wasn't there on this version on when I was playing on the emulator. No idea why. Just went to the exact same spot. In fact, I mucked around all over the place, really, behind the house where it was previously hidden, and I couldn't find it. So I'm actually one less rare candy down, and so that's a bit disappointing. How many super potions have I got? I might get a few more. I'm just going to get 5 more super potions. Why the hell not? In fact, no, I'm not, because I'm going to press the wrong button, and I'm going to can't. Did I get 5 or an extra 1? I bought 1. That was good. So I want an extra 4. Thank you. Right. And now I press the wrong button again and gone out of here. Lovely. Paralyzed heals as well because I was getting my I need some more of those I think. So I'm going to go. I'll get 4 of those. I'll get 5 of those. Spend a grand on that. I think I'm okay with the other ones. Then sleep power. I got some. I got some. Have you got any? You have got some awakenings. Okay, and I've got 2 of those. Oh, but yeah, I'll get 3 of those just in case I get put to sleep by Pokemon as well. I'll leave it there. Yeah, it's a bit annoying. I can't seem to, I don't think there are any revives available in the shops for me to buy. So a bit kind of stuff there. Anyway, this is going to be a very kind of grinding, heavy episode where I say, I'll do another sort of. I'm going to make it probably 3 characters on my favourite countdown. So I've gone through of the 11 travelling companions, so 11, 10, 9. So this episode I'm going to go through 8th, 7th, and 6th. Before I do so, I'm just going to do a bit of setup. So what I'm going to do is I am going to give Pidgeotto the lucky egg so that he gets extra EXP. All my Pokemon are male now, by the way, as well. I think I had a few that were female in my old party. Again, I wasn't paying too much stock to it, or too much attention to it. So, I think there are. As you can see, my party are definitely all male in this one. But I had a few who are female in the other one. But oh well. And I'm going to give Charmander the XP share. Now I know obviously I was trying to sort of balance out the between Charmander, Bulbasaur, and Squirtle, the experience there. But of course I'm fighting in a grass gym. So yeah, I'm going to want my flying and my fire type, really kind of revved up, shall we say, or leveled up. And it actually looks like. I do wonder actually whether quick attack is going to be good enough to take out the Rattata here. It's not, but oh well. I'm going to maybe spend a bit of time here, and I'm also going to maybe spend a bit of time in Lavender Town and see what the experience I'm getting from these are. Yeah, that's pretty terrible. 121 with a boost as well. So that's pretty terrible. I might as well suppose wander through the grass on my way to Lavender Town. But yeah, there are a lot of ghost Pokemon in the I think it's the Ghost House or whatever they are. So that I'm hoping that's going to get me some additional experience, because otherwise it's going to be pretty slow going if I'm only getting you last. How much does he hang on there with? Ridiculous. Yeah, I'm getting so little experience points here, isn't it? Going to be grinding away for an awful long time. So it's going to go into Pokemon Tower. Sorry, yep. And let's go to the bottom floor, because I think, well, okay, fine. Let's not go to the bottom floor yet. Let's get caught by Pokemon on the way. Ghastly, only level 14. And of course, normal moves are not going to do a thing at the moment. Dark moves are actually going to be pretty good, though, aren't they? So Ghost Poison. So yeah, dark moves are actually going to be pretty good. So you're level 14. You're a lot lower, and I'm getting additional, or I'm getting more experience points than I was for. I still can't get to the basement. Than I was with level 20 Pokemon that were hiding outside on the route between. Flying ones will be fine as well, won't they? Just remember not to use normal attacks. Oh, actually, in fact, because I'm obviously a normal type as well, then all your ghost type moves aren't going to work either. So that's quite nice. And already a level up, Pidgeotto was pretty close to being leveled up anyway. That's a nice little boost there. I find myself now paying like so much more attention to like the boosts I get for every level up, having sort of try to sort of see how how my sort of Pokemon team was building up this time compared to previously, and obviously looking at the stats and seeing, oh, have I got a better Pidgeotto? Have I got a worse Pidgeotto? I've got a far worse Pidgeotto, believe me, and indeed and the other Pokemon as well. So, but I've got a better Pikachu. I don't think I can complain. I don't think I can make too much of a fuss. So yeah, overall, I'm reasonably happy with my new Pokemon team compared to my old one. Let's put it that way. And frankly, once you start going up levels, really anyway, I could obviously spend extra time leveling up Pokemon and getting them to. So, for instance, if I went and leveled them all up to 2 levels higher than what they were when I stopped previously, then I imagine they would have probably already caught up, and the difference would be, obviously negligible, or wouldn't even matter anyway. So. Yeah, I'm not going to get them up to level 100 or anything like that at any point in time anyway. So for the most part, it's not going to make a huge difference. But oh well, it was still interesting to sort of seeing the progression of the Pokemon I had and seeing how they compared to what I had previously. Anyway, I'm definitely getting more experience from the Pokemon in Pokemon Tower. Indeed, say some that are lower level than the ones on the route to. Lavender, or the route between Saffron City and Lavender Town. So yeah, this is going to be my base for the next however long, and I'm probably just going to spend the time mucking around, walking around, getting encounters, raising experience, all the while, or as long as it takes me to get out what I want to do on the characters. So I will actually pause for a little bit, because I'll obviously bring up my little graphic and such like that. So I'm going to pause very briefly after this fight, assuming Charming doesn't level up. Okay, so we'll stay still. I won't get an encounter while I'm staying still. So yeah. Anyway, a brief pause here. I'll bring up my graphic. So yeah, with not much further ado. As a reminder of what I've previously got, so 11th, I had 11th in last place, I had Max, and then in 10th place I had Tracy, and then 9th place was the last one I talked about was Iris. So yes, let's continue the countdown, and in at number 8 is Cylon. So yes, the second travelling companion in Black and White series, or Best Wishes series. So that may give you some indication about how ultimately the Black and White or Best Wishes series ends up kind of sitting with me in terms of like a a favourite or preferred series. I will clarify that point right now to say that I will go through the series. I will go through the series and sort of talk about those in more detail as well. But I say this is no slight on the Black and White series. I'm just going to call it Black and White series from now on. That's the one I know it better as, rather than best wishes. So yeah, from now on I'm just going to say Black and White and not keep saying Black and White / best wishes or blah blah blah. So yeah, no slight on the series overall. But yeah, I do consider Iris to be one of the weaker travelling companions, and I think ultimately Silent I've got just above Iris. Principally because, I mean, again, as with Iris, as indeed with Tracy, I don't dislike the guy, Silent that is. Just I don't feel like there's really so much to necessarily talk about with him, or in terms of like character development and such like that. But I'm getting a little bit kind of ahead of myself. So I think probably one of the reasons why most people would sort of have him. I mean, leaving aside the whole Black and White series coming after Diamond and Pearl or whatnot. I think probably one of the reasons people sort of a bit like Tracy really don't have sort of too high an opinion of him is he's the male travelling companion who follows Brock. And let's just say any male character who's effectively trying to step into Brock's shoes, as and that's why ultimately Tracy gets absolutely one of the huge reasons why Tracy gets absolutely slated. But yeah, trying to step in and follow Brock is going to be a hell of a job, and ultimately he ends up sort of just being a discount Brock. But he performs a sort of a similar kind of role. After all, he is a gym leader. Yeah, he's the first gym Ash encounters in Unova, and much like Brock, actually, after Ash defeats him, he relinquishes his duties as a gym leader. Although, unlike Brock, who I think his father kind of took over, but he was sort of almost looked like he was sort of abandoning the gym even before the father kind of showed up, or at least his father gave him the sort of the incentive and the permission to sort of go on. Silent obviously has his two brothers. Is that going to kill Haunter before I take any damage? That would be nice. I'm cool with that. Provided I don't take any damage. Yep, cool, fine. Oh, and Charmander finally grew as well, level 26. Yay. And we'll have to make sure I remember to cancel the evolutions. Sorry, I got a bit carried away there with the. I'll try not to do that. I got in a little bit of the force of habit of doing that. I'm interrupting the flow of what I was doing while I was talking about all the things I want to talk about. But yeah, sorry, I used the space bar there to just speed through, if you will, that evolution process. I'll try not to do that before, but I sort of got in the habit of doing that while I was sort of getting back to replaying the game ultimately to get back to where I was, because one advantage of playing on the emulated version is, like I say, I can use, in this case it's a spacebar, to ultimately speed through. So I could do it here for the encounters, literally anything where I'm not making a decision. I could hold down the spacebar and it will whiz through all the dialogue, like it's not like in no time flat. And I was sort of doing that, particularly with the particularly the evolutions as well. So I was holding down the cancel button so it wouldn't evolve, but just to speed up the process. And unfortunately, it's obviously a habit that I haven't quite got out of having got up to that point. So I will try and three boost to the HP. Nice. So yeah, it's a sort of habit I was or something I've been doing while I was getting back up to this point, and a habit I will try to avoid doing as I'm going forward from now. But yeah, apologies if I slip into that bad habit. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so yeah, much like Brock, Silent being one of the one of the gym leaders. The first gym Ash comes to. He's obviously got his two brothers, Cress and Chili, alongside him. So the three brothers run the gym. So there's still two of the brothers left in the gym. And yeah, Silent decides, well, he's impressed by Ash's battling style and his gusto and whatnot. So he decides that he's going to follow Ash on his journey, and that he'll benefit and learn from doing so. So yeah, off Simon goes. In fact, in that very same episode, Iris reappears. She was actually watching Ash's battle against the three brothers, including Cylon, and decides to tag along at the end of that episode as well. So that's the episode. I think it's probably about episode 5 or 6 into the Black and White series where the team is fully the team is fully formed. Off he goes. So he performs much the sort of same role as Brock does. So and it's a bit of a thankless kind of task, a bit less so I think than Brock, but again, I don't think Cylon would get really the credit that he deserves. So I mean, again, he is doing all the thing. He's the provider for the group. He's the caretaker. He does all the thankless tasks like the cooking, the looking after and such like that, and making sure obviously that they all get fed and they don't die, on their journey, and they kept warm and all that kind of thing. So which is a pretty thankless task. And again, I don't think he really gets the credit that he really deserves for that. Again, he probably doesn't do it as well as Brock, and I think he probably suffers because of that. But I mean, there's no real reason I'd say to hate the guy. I mean, again, I think it's probably just a whole black and white thing again, where they just think, oh, Iris, Cylon, blah, blah, blah. And again, unfortunately, Cylon just bears the brunt of that. But he's an interesting interesting character. Good, that's not going to work on me. I think the thing that sort of drags him down a little bit is that I don't think there's anything that, I mean, he's got his quirks and his personality and his certain charm as well, but I don't think there's really anything that sort of stands out about him. He's a sort of a jack of all trades as well. And what I kind of what I'm kind of mean by that is, well, he's supposed to be, as far as I can tell, like this Pokemon connoisseur. I think he's an A class as well, so he's got that for him as well. But he also seems to have just pretty much, it seems to be a connoisseur of pretty much anything. So he's like a connoisseur of a Pokemon connoisseur. He's also a fishing connoisseur. I think he's also a detective connoisseur and a subway connoisseur, or maybe connoisseur is not the right word there. But he seems to. I've got this like image of him, like with a weird background with like a magnifying glass when he's a detective, or when he's with a whole bunch of trains and tracks behind him when he's sort of doing a subway, or again holding with a fishing pole sort of. Or rod or whatever sort of slung behind his back when he's supposed to be a fishing expert and such like that. And it's a bit kind of like, yeah, are you really this? I'm sure I buy him sort of being this amazing jack of all trades where he sort of knows everything about seemingly everything. So that kind of falls a little bit flat for me on that side of things. It's sort of like a character trait that don't necessarily take to all that much. I guess while I'm mentioning, again, no slight, I could probably, and this shouldn't be a slight on Cylon by any stretch of the imagination, although I suppose it does sort of, at least play into a little bit of kind of character. I sort of, and I've got Iris right below me, and at least I probably sort of mentioned that Iris's rival Georgia is actually a pretty kind of good character in terms of playing off Iris. There are actually some really nice moments where Iris and Georgia sort of like butting heads. I love Iris's interactions with Zorro, and just taking the piss out of Georgia at every step there. Those are some really, really good moments. Iris has got Georgia. Cylon has got Burgundy, who's like this Pokemon connoisseur rival, who I don't know, can't remember if she's B class, C class, or whatever, and she's a terrible character. She's just so hate-filled and just so much resentment towards Cylon for no real reason. I mean, she's sort of just jealous to the point of ridiculousness. I mean, again, this shouldn't feel like it's a slight on Cylon per se, but in terms of like, looking forward to, whenever the sort of rivals kind of appeared in episodes and such like that. Whenever Georgia appeared, I was like, oh, this could be kind of interesting episode. This could be fun. I like seeing the interaction between Iris and Georgia, but I think I was sort of almost rolling my eyes every time Burgundy sort of appeared. It's like, oh great, Cylon and Burgundy are going to get into it again now. I mean, not that really Cylon gets into it per se. All the resentment, all the angst is coming from Burgundy rather than Cylon. But still, I just I felt like when she's around, the the episodes, for the most part, are going to sort of tend to focus on Cylon, and it almost automatically, it must remember not to take a look at the quick stats here. Special attack up by 3, good. If I'm going to be using like fire type weapons as well, that's pretty good. I could do with a good speed boost as well. So yeah, I'm not gonna boost this up. I'm obviously going to cancel the evolution, so make sure I hold down the button and Charmander doesn't evolve. At least not yet, anyway. But yeah, don't speed up the process. Good, fine. Obviously, it wasn't so long ago that I remembered to do that, so that wasn't any problem. Anyway, yeah, back to Cylon Burgundy. I felt like whenever sort of Burgundy appeared, it was sort of it was almost kind of like a rolling of the eyes. Not to say, oh, this episode's going to focus on Cylon, but I just that didn't knock you out. Fine, okay. I just didn't feel like Burgundy really plays as a good character for Cylon to be up against, if you will. And I think ultimately Cylon does suffer from that perspective in terms of having someone who is supposed to be this sort of rival to him, but is just a bit of a damp squid, really. Not a fan of Burgundy at all, and so the interaction, unlike for instance Iris and Georgia, despite the fact that I've got Cylon above Iris, and again I feel like this shouldn't be too much of a slight on Cylon, but I just feel like Burgundy is really just not a good rival ultimately for him to have. But anyway, other things about Cylon. He's got his like kind of little gimmick with it's evaluation time. That kind of was something I kind of liked at the beginning. I think it's sort of one of those kind of running gag kind of things that really kind of like just dragged on after a while and started becoming less and less kind of funny or interesting, such like that. So I think during like the first season of Black and White, which would be season 14, I want to say. Apologies if I got that wrong. I was doing some quick numbers in my head to work out what that would have been. I think it's 14. It was kind of obviously something new, something nothing Brock had done in particular. I mean, I suppose it's the Brock equivalent of falling in love with a random girl. Cylon's evaluation time, but it never, and again, I feel like even from my perspective, it does kind of suffer as being his sort of like gimmick per se, if you will, or coming after Brock's one, particularly in Diamond and Pearl, where I think Krogunk actually has the far better or the best sort of way of preventing Brock from doing, for actually taking anything forward, as above and beyond the role Misty and Max performed doing that. So I think again it kind of suffers from that. But evaluation time was just kind of something that was kind of there. It felt like it was something kind of interesting to begin with, but got old pretty quickly and was never sort of or ended up not sort of not kind of being such a huge fan of it. I think by the end. Well, let's talk about some positives about him as though. I do like the passion that he's got, what he shows at times. There's a couple of little nice episodes where that was terrible experience. Where Ash is about to go up against Skylar, the flying Pokemon gym leader in Unova, and so she's the one who sort of just does her kind of mind battles. I can't remember the exact phrase. Air battle or whatever she does. She envisages the battles in her head, and then if she thinks the Pokemon that she's up against are going to beat her, then she just hands them the badge. If she thinks that she's got the edge, then she just holds on to the badge. So because she has no time because she's too busy flying. I really like Cylon's character in that, and I think he does get some really nice development in those two particular episodes where he just sort of like as obviously a gym leader himself, where he just cannot stand the kind of the concept or the idea that a gym leader is just having battles in this way where the trainer doesn't grow, she doesn't grow, and ultimately she's just effectively wasting her time. I just realised I'm one move short here of having no moves left to attack with, so I'm going to need to go back to the Pokemon Center after this. And I was relieved to see it was level 17, which was one lower than level 18, which was the Ghastly I fought just before. Actually, I've got to get out of here, haven't I? Let's bung Charmander on at the front while I get out of here, just in case I end up getting collared by, probably will actually, I should have been making for the exit. I was paying attention to the move set, but of course but for whatever reason I wasn't paying attention to where I was on screen so that I could actually get out of here. And back to the Pokemon Center to rest up and replenish my moves. And of course now because and not that I'm worried, Charmander should be more than able to hold his own against far lower level Ghastly. But yeah, your moves will actually damage me now because I'm no longer a normal type. But anyway. I really like his kind of passion and his resolve to kind of always desire to resolve that situation, to try and at least prove to Skylar that she's completely wrong, that there's absolutely the battles she's having don't benefit anyone. They certainly don't benefit her. They certainly don't benefit the trainers who are either getting badges ultimately for free if they just happen to bring. Well, let's just say they bring like electric type Pokemon or ice type Pokemon or rock Pokemon or whatever. Then effectively she's just going to give them the badge, right there and then. But equally, if they bring along grass Pokemon or bug Pokemon or something like that, where she's just obviously just going to say no, you can't win. There are going to be ultimately, assuming there are only 8 gyms in the region, which I'm not too sure whether that's true, given that there are 2 Pokemon games, Black and White, and then Black 2 and White 2, and there are different gyms in those games. Kind of implies there are more than 8 gyms. But switch back to Pidgeotto. If we assume there are only 8 gyms, and you obviously need 8 gyms to compete in the Unova League, then effectively you're basically just shooing away trainers, and they'll never have any chance whatsoever of getting to the Unova League, depending on their Pokemon team, of course. But if they like grass, if they want to have an entire grass team or entire bug team or whatever, then there's going to be absolutely no way they're ever going to win that battle, and they'll never be able to get all the badges and such like that. So yeah, it's a pretty garbage way of being a gym leader, and Silent really stands up to her. Ultimately, just isn't. Even though he has a battle with her, isn't able to convince her that she's wrong because she beats him. It's obviously up to Ash to do that. So Ash has his gym battle, and despite being at a so-called disadvantage, does manage to defeat Skylar. But yeah, I really like Silent's kind of character there in terms of just how. And yeah, he's sort of how seriously he takes the sort of the duty as being a gym leader in terms of actually making sure that that trainers. Okay, I will probably keep Seismic Toss. I'm probably going to get rid of Rage. It's not got terribly good accuracy. I want to at least probably keep Fire Spin, I think, for the time being at least. I feel like, I know its accuracy is terrible, but it not terrible, but might be really good. Obviously, I could just level up till God knows what level my Pokemon get to, but obviously just defeat it with Charmander normally and indeed Pidgeotto. But I feel like Fire Spin might be very useful for battling Erica, and I'm probably not going to use Rage all that much, to be honest, so I think I'm going to get rid of that, and we'll give you Seismic Toss instead of Rage. But anyway, yeah, I like Silent. He's taking his sort of duties seriously, and cancel the evolution again. Taking his duties seriously, and ultimately his passion for ensuring that Skylar is also set back on the right path as well, and that she gets back to battling properly, and everyone benefits, not only the traders but her. Other than that, though, I can't really think of any kind of standout moments for Silent, which I think is ultimately why I have got him fairly low on my list. I think ultimately he's less annoying. I want to say quote unquote annoying, because Iris isn't annoying all the time, but I think the two of kind of, say, ultimately very similar. I've got Iris on as 9th on my list and Silent as 8th. They are kind of a sort of similar level on my favourite list, but I think I'd put sort of Silent above Iris just because Iris is just, slightly more annoying to me. But I suppose just to end on one final thing with Cylon, which probably puts it down quite low as well, is that ultimately, other than the fact that I say I don't really think he does too much developing, despite going on this journey to develop in such a way, his Pokemon team is absolutely awful. I mentioned about Iris's team, or Iris being a Dragon Master, and that she's only really got Axew. She's got an Excadrill and a Molga. I know she gets a Dragonite and everything like that, but Excadrill and Molga sort of being two of her kind of fairly go-to Pokemon as well. But Cylon, I know he's not necessarily got he's not a thing like a Dragon Master. You should expect him to have Dragon-type Pokemon or anything like that. But his team, unless I'm forgetting one, as far as I can remember, is Pansage, Crustle, who evolved from Dwebble, and Stunfish. That is just one of the worst Pokemon teams I think any character possibly has who's able to, actually be a trainer in the main cast of characters that I think I can remember. I mean, Tracy doesn't get much screen time, and Maryl's sort of okay, fine. She's got a Scyther at some point in time as well, so pretty decent getting a Scyther and things like that. But Cylon's Pokemon team is just absolutely dreadful. Just Pansage, Crustle, and Stunfish. Just no. You're not going to do. You're not going to do too much with those three. So yeah, I think he needed more Pokemon. And I think he needed a really decent one as well. I just think ultimately with that team, it doesn't really get a chance to develop too much. And it's all been a bit of a higgle-piggledy mess, I think, that, and I haven't done as good of a job as I would want to, kind of going through Cylon. But I think for all those reasons, let me just knock out this Ghastly. I think I'm pretty much done with Cylon. So let's just I'll pause it there for a moment, and I'm done with Cylon. I say he's again. I don't dislike the guy, but even from my perspective, I ultimately do think he suffers an awful lot because he comes right hot on the heels on Brock, and he becomes like a discount Brock. And I have to confess, if you're gonna compare him to Brock, and it's difficult not to, given that ultimately he's the next male travelling companion. Yeah, he is going to come out looking a lot, or significantly inferior to Brock. So. Yeah, I don't dislike the guy, but I find him less annoying to certain degrees than Iris. I can't really say too many great things about Cylon. So, yeah, he's at number 8 on my list. And here's hoping I can do a bit more kind of comprehensive and as convoluted with my with the character who's next on my list. So coming in at number 7, and oh boy, if there were lots and lots of people watching this will be about the time I'd get it in the neck. Coming in at 7 is Misty. Yes, really, Misty. I've got Misty this low on my favourite list. She doesn't even make the top half. With 11 travelling companions that I'm going to be discussing, 6 would sort of be bang in the middle. So 1 to 5 would be like top half, if you will. Oh, good, that's going to knock out Haunter, and then 7 to 11 would be bottom half. So Misty comes bottom half. Now, I'm going to say right up front that I like Misty a lot of the time, and I think certainly from some of the other characters we've had, she's much more interesting. I mean, she's obviously got a lot of screen time. She's there for 5 seasons through the original series. Through Kanto and Orange Isles and Johto and whatnot. So she's there for a long time. So you'd expect her to be foremost in people's minds, and ultimately you'd expect her to get she gets a lot of screen time, but I don't think she gets an awful lot of development, which is something I will certainly come back to, and I think it's one of the reasons why ultimately I've got Misty that low on the list. But let's go through the positives first of all. So and again, I don't want this to be a slight on Misty by any situation. Other than Max, who I don't like, and I'd say Tracy, who just doesn't get anywhere, doesn't have enough screen time for me to really like, but I don't dislike him. I don't dislike really any of the other ones from Iris onwards. So I like Misty a lot of the time, but there are certain things that really, really rub me the wrong way when it comes to Misty. But let's start off with a few positives. So I do like her passion when it's done correctly. So she is very. I don't want to sort of get into her temper and such like that at the moment. So I'm going to come back to that as a sort of separate point. But ultimately, it's sort of, they kind of link. But she's very sort of obviously very quick to anger. But in some ways sometimes that's a good way. But yeah, she is a very passionate girl. And I say I do like that about her when it's pointed or directed in the right area. So in particular, I like how protective of Ash. I could come up with loads and loads of examples. The one that immediately pops to mind is during the Indigo League, when Ash has been taken captive by Team Rocket or been sent away or whatever, and Richie is in the arena, and Misty, because obviously it was Team Rocket in disguise who made her think that Richie Team Rocket had pretty much called Misty a bitch. But she thought it was Richie, so she's obviously not too pleased with the guy, and she thought that Richie was the one who'd convinced Ash to like forfeit the match or not turn up and such like that. So she's like storms into the stadium, steps on his foot, which I'm not a big fan of the violence, and I'll come back to that sort of linking to her temper. But I suppose stepping on someone's foot not the worst thing she's done, but yeah, very protective of Ash in that circumstance, and I like that. I feel like despite how quote unquote horrible or nasty or inconsiderate Misty can be to Ash at times, I do think they're clearly very good friends. She clearly thinks a lot of him, and yeah, I like how protective of Ash she is. I was going to come up with another example that's now completely slipped my mind, but it was actually just even just kind of coming after his Ash's defeat to Richie, where it sort of starts off with good intentions. She goes into his room, tries to sort of cheer him up and everything like that, with perfectly good intentions. Ash is being a bit of a prat, basically just kind of shrugging her off, giving her the cold shoulder, basically telling her to piss off, which Misty doesn't take too lightly and starts getting into a slanging match with him and everything like that, and it all turns into a bit of a disaster from that perspective. But I like the fact, again, Misty was, clearly, it was fairly obvious Ash was obviously upset and everything like that, but, Misty obviously read the situation, tried to, I think it was to convince Ash to go just go for a walk, clear his head, to spend a bit of time with him, maybe just kind of make him feel a bit better. Okay, not overly bothered by that attack, just waiting to see what was going on with that attack. Hadn't come up against that in this game previously, so yeah, apologies for the break in the flow there. Ooh, level 29 for Charmander. I could have really done with a speed boost there, I think. Cancel the evolution. Yeah, anyway, yeah, I like the friendship, and it'll apply to the team ultimately as well. Brock, less so Tracy, but ultimately again doesn't really spend so much time with them. But Ash, Misty, and Brock are a really tight group of friends, and that comes across constantly. That comes across throughout the 4 and a bit seasons, I guess, that they had together. So yeah, and I really like that about Misty. I also like how independent she is as well. So a couple of episodes that spring to mind, which also would sort of be on my sort of high up on my favourite list of episodes. There's one in season 2 called Stunspore Detour, I think it is, where Ash and Tracy get kind of knocked out by this fungus, or get struck down with this kind of illness, and Misty has to be the one to go away and find the cure to it, as I think how she ends up getting her Poliwag. And she has to sort of fight off Team Rocket. When I say Team Rocket, they're Jessie-less, because Jessie's also a bit under the weather, and it's sort of just James and Meowth, who are hilarious together, just making a complete mess of pretty much everything. And Misty obviously stands up to them, defeats them in battle and such like that, and just kind of. Yeah, she's very independent in that respect in terms of taking both care of obviously Ash and Tracy, and also herself against Team Rocket, and I really like that. I also really like her sensitive side there, where she recognises, I think she must have realised that Jessie was also ill, so she decides to leave some of the special weed behind, or whatever it was that actually would heal her up. So she voluntarily gives that up to James and Meowth. who are extremely grateful. Jessie less so, yeah, I like the fact that she's caring enough there, even if it's Jessie. She recognises that James and Meowth, although attacking her, are trying to do it to save their friend Jessie, and she helps them out in that respect, which is nice of her. There's another episode in season 3 called Forest Grumps, I think it is, where the gang gets kind of separated. So Ash, Brock, and Jessie end up together, and then Misty ends up again with James and Meowth, and pretty much just kind of is the complete boss of that group, despite obviously how much older James is, and how obviously more in charge you kind of expect sort of or Team Rocket to be, other than sort of Misty. I think if Jessie were there, it probably would be the case. But yeah, she completely owns James and Meowth. She has absolutely no problem whatsoever. Standing her ground. There's a little bit where they're about to go to sleep on a rock. They think they're stranded, where she divides the rock or the sleeping area completely unfairly, so that she gets like about 90% of the rock space, and then James and Meowth get the 10% to work with. But again, yeah, she stands up for herself. She's very independent. Again, she's nice enough when she realises that I don't want to get confused. When she realises that James and Meowth are going hungry, so she gives them each a bit of her sandwich. So yeah, again, she's thank you, good. Of course, confusion's now worn off as well. So yeah, she's strong, she's independent, she stands up for herself, but she clearly, obviously, has a heart. And when it's in the right place, Misty is a very good character. I've got a few other good points kind of coming up and such like that that I want to end on, because I don't want to sort of end on all the negatives of Misty. But I do have there are some serious points I have about Misty which really kind of put me off her. The first one being her temper. So I am all for kind of. I mean, you should hear me when I'm playing my I want to be, or when I'm playing my I want to be games on Let's Play. So I don't say I have a temper and I don't take it out on other people, but yeah, I can turn the air blue just as much as any guy. But yeah, I think that my temper is constrained to that rather than taking it out on anyone else. Misty will just assault or hit or anybody. Ash, Brock. She just leaves them with lumps on the side of their head and such like that. And for someone who, I mean, Ash can be a little bit insulting as well. Brock far less so. So when she, and I'm not talking about her dragging Brock away by the ear or anything like that. I mean, she could do that a bit more, less violently. But I mean, compared to probably Max and Krogunk, she's probably the most or the least violent of the three. But just the sort of times where she just kind of lashes out, particularly at Ash. And again, going back to this other side where she kind of is obviously one of Ash's best friends. She's very protective of him. But and again, I'm all for her being independent and not taking any crap or whatever when being insulted and such like that. But compared to other characters, like for instance May or Dawn, who tend to just sort of come back with a really kind of snappy comeback just to put Ash completely in his place, which is much the better way of going about it than the road Misty takes, which obviously is meant to be somewhat comical, but she's a violent girl, and she will beat on Ash, she will beat on Brock. Indeed, other people. I've already mentioned Richie when she admittedly it was only like a step on the foot and such like that, but still she can. Yeah, she's I think way too unnecessarily violent at times. Particularly, I say more obviously for Ash and Brock and Ash in particular, when they're supposedly such good friends. I think it's completely unnecessary. I think tied in with that is. I hesitate. Well, I'm going to throw out the word abuse there, because I think not that she doesn't like him, not that she doesn't necessarily love him, or respect him at times, because he does. But Misty's treatment of Psyduck in particular, and I absolutely love Psyduck, one of my favourite Pokemon in the entire series. He's just so dopey and so lovable. I love Psyduck. To see him being mistreated like that, and again, don't get me wrong, Misty, as at times said, she said, in episodes that she wouldn't trade Psyduck for any other Pokemon. She's clearly at times, respects the power that he's got and what he can do. But a lot of the time, she seems like she wants rid of him. I mean, I know admittedly Psyduck wandered into her Pokeball. I should be getting out of here, shouldn't I? Because I'm about to run out of moves. I know Psyduck kind of wandered into her Pokeball. Did I say wandered into her Pokemon? I meant Pokeball, if I said Pokemon. And she didn't really necessarily want to catch him, but still. It's just like that innocence of Psyduck there. It's just like, again, it's this whole temper thing where she like doesn't have any patience with him whatsoever. And yeah, it's really quite cruel towards Psyduck. Where she will I'll go back to word assault. It's not just the the fellow humans, Ash and Brock or others that she'll assault or whatever. She will abuse Psyduck. She will punch him in the head. She will I'm kind of trying to think how to do it. Like smush her hand on the top of his head, and whatnot, and violently shake him and everything like that as well. So yeah, for a Pokemon that I absolutely love, I hate to see Psyduck mistreated like that. And again, I don't think it's not that she doesn't care for him. I do genuinely think that Misty cares for Psyduck, but you compare her treatment to Psyduck with anybody else. I don't think Psyduck. Well, I don't. Well, there's no think about it. Psyduck does not deserve that level of treatment. I mean, you look at how. Ultimately caring Misty is toward Togepi, for example. The difference ultimately in how she cares for and treats Togepi compared to Psyduck is obviously just chalk and cheese. And yeah, it breaks my heart to see Misty abuse Psyduck the way she does. Let's have a look at this. See what we're dealing with here. I don't think there's anything I'm gonna get, to be honest. Sure, yeah, but I'm not going to bother with that. I don't think. No, we're not going to bother with that. Yeah. Charmander's got leveled up as well. Nice. It breaks my heart to see a character that I do like quite a bit, Misty. Just abuse a Pokemon, Psyduck, who is one of my all-time favourite Pokemon in the series, and I feel it completely unwarranted. Yes, Psyduck's quote-unquote special, a little bit dopey, but his heart is always in the right place. He's just such a lovable character, and yeah, Misty mistreating Psyduck really rubs me up the wrong way. I guess the other thing that would be sort of on a negative point of view again is development. So, as long as Misty's there, the longest standing female companion throughout the series, she doesn't really develop too much. She obviously expands her Pokemon team and such like that, but I don't really feel like she develops so much as a character, which is so disappointing. I mean, there are nuggets there. There are times where I feel like she has kind of gained something or changed her character and such like that. I mean, Togepi probably being an example, although she still she gets Togepi quite early on in season, well, halfway through season 1, I suppose, but yeah, very early on in her stint in the anime. But I don't see, for someone who was there for so long, I don't see an enormous amount of character development there, which is very, very disappointing. And I think ultimately another one of the reasons why she just sort of ends up being quite low on my list. Let's flip that around, because I've talked quite a lot about now Misty. I'm also conscious of the time. It's going to be a very long episode, but yeah. Anyway, I've got all these thoughts, and it's great for me to sort of get them all out. Let's flip this round and talk about obviously some more good parts about Misty. So I'll flip back round to the contrast to Psyduck. We obviously have Togepi, and I do feel like obviously watching her cherish and take care of Togepi. As much as I have an issue with how she came to acquire Togepi by basically shoving Ash and Brock out of the way, and she just happening to be the first person that Togepi saw, even though Ash was the one who found the egg, and Brock was the one who nurtured it, and that Misty now all of a sudden gets this Gen 2 Pokemon. And it would have been fairly rare, obviously, at the time as well. Just sort of brushes Ash and Brock aside, and certainly the least deserving. She was less deserving than Meowth to have Togepi. put it that way. And another great episode, actually. I love the who gets to keep Togepi episode, and really actually rooting for Meowth during that episode, strangely. But yeah, I feel like Misty's got less of a claim to Togepi than Meowth does. So yeah. But that aside, you know, she does a very good job of taking care of Togepi, and it's nice to see that more sensitive side of Misty's character, which I really do like. And I guess the last thing I want to say is I was, you know, and which clearly obviously built into you know, ultimately how much I do like Misty. I was, I'm not going to say greatly, but a little bit emotionally affected by her goodbye and her, you know, the song and everything that plays during her goodbye in Gotta Catch You Later, the second to last episode of the 5th season. So when they obviously, you know, Ash, Brock and Misty all go their separate ways. Yeah, that got to me. That was a really, really nice, sweet moment, and yeah, obviously just the tiny tear that was kind of forming at the back of my eye just kind of made me obviously made me realise how much I, you know, appreciated Misty, how much I liked her, and how sad I was going to see Misty go. So yeah, I think overall Misty is a really good character. I think, you know, there are lots of things I like about her, but ultimately I think there are just a few too many serious reservations I had about her character that would make me think, oh, I really don't like you at that point in time. I really don't like how, you know, how the temper you've got. I really don't like how aggressive you get towards, you know, Ash and Brock in particular, your two, you know, best friends at the time. I absolutely loathe how you treat Psyduck for consistently throughout the thing as well. I mean, there are times she just plays flip-flops on Psyduck like a incredibly two-faced throughout the entire, you know, in the same episode sometimes, where she's basically like, you know, saying, "Oh, you're the worst Pokemon in the world. Oh, why didn't even, you know, Team Rocket in an episode with the Eevee brothers and you know, stole all the Pokemon, and Misty laments about the fact that Team Rocket didn't steal her Psyduck." So she just flip-flops episode to episode on just, you know, the love-hate with Psyduck, which is just But yeah, and so yeah, temper, particular her, you know, and with treatment of Psyduck, and also her lack of sort of character development in terms of, I think, self-awareness as well. The appreciation that she should get so aggressive, and she shouldn't, you know, be so mean to Psyduck as well. Those things in particular just sort of, you know, hold me back for numerous times littered throughout the anime, and sort of to the point where I'm like, well, I really actually don't like you at these points in time. Whereas I don't think the characters that I've got yet to discuss on my list, while they do have, well, you know, none of them are going to be perfect. They're all going to have their, you know, slightly, you know, their downsides, their bad points. None of them to the extent, and even so much like for instance, Cyrus and Ilon. Wow, Cyrus and Ilon, what the hell? Silent and Iris. Where I've sort of obviously put them both lower than Misty. I don't think I've got any character trait from either of those two that I would say that makes me, you know, that makes me think I don't like those more than I do Misty at those points in time. But ultimately, Misty's bright points, you know, I think elevate her above and beyond both Silent and Iris. So yeah, while I've finished the encounter there, I'll leave Misty off there. She is number 7 on my list. And I'm actually going to switch Pokemon at this point in time. I think Pidgeotto is doing fine on level 34, so I am actually going to switch these round. I'm going to give Charmander the lucky egg. I'm going to give Pidgeotto the EXP share, so we're going to do some battling now with Charmander. We'll get him up to a higher level as well. I might be massively over-leveling Charmander and Pidgeotto here for this gym battle, but again, I feel like, to be honest, I might as well just, you know, I've obviously got the time that I want to spend during this video just kind of going through my character list, so I might as well just, you know, spend this time actually, you know, increasing the levels to wherever they get to. So anyway, yeah. So yeah, fine. This is going to be a very long video. I'm conscious it's already an hour. It's probably going to be about an hour 20, if not longer. But yeah, apologies for that. Hopefully you're just being kind of, or hopefully my various ramblings about characters and such like that are interesting to a point. So yeah, without any further ado, let's continue on with the list and go into, well, the middle character. So yeah, not in the top half, top 5, but not in the bottom half, the bottom 5. So yeah, coming in at number 6 is Clement. So, what have I got to say about Clement? Well, I think again he's probably one of those characters who probably suffers a little bit in terms of again being compared to Brock, because I think Brock's just got such a lasting legacy, perhaps for want of a better word, in the series that, you know, again, well, I've already gone about silent comparison to Brock. I think sort of Clement's also going to suffer from the same sort of thing, but on the flip side, I think coming after Cylon, he comes out kind of better than perhaps most people, than perhaps he maybe otherwise would do. Although I say I really like Clement. I have very little against Clement, but or Clement, yeah. So I think he's sort of a discount, another discount Brock, but he's a better Brock than Cylon. That kind of makes sense, and I certainly do. It's a bit annoying you didn't get knocked out, but oh well, curse is fine. What's going to knock you out? The curse, the burn, have whatever you want. Yeah, so I think yeah, he falls between, you know, Cylon and Brock definitely, and I think that's probably what that's definitely where he falls. And again, I think he sort of performs again a kind of a thankless task. So again, much like you know, Brock, Cylon, he performs that same role. So he is the group provider. He is the caretaker of the group. And again, whether that is the cooking, whether that's special attack up 4, nice. I'd really like the speed going up as well. That would be good. But special attack up by 4 is nice. So yeah, whether that is like the cooking or the inventing to a certain degree, I'll come back to sort of you know, the science, gadgets, inventing kind of thing later, because it's a sort of a nice kind of character element that I really do like to Clement. But yeah, the group provider, and also tagging along with that, we've obviously got another obviously a very young character tagging along as well in Bonnie. Obviously, Clement is Bonnie's older brother, so he's also got that role as well in terms of looking after Bonnie, which I think he actually does a really, really good job with. And I do really. You can generally, as much as, you know, obviously you can clearly tell that May and Max have their obviously brother and sister affection for each other, and obviously care about each other a lot. Well, their brother and sister, their family, obviously. But I feel like Clement and Bonnie have a stronger kind of relationship than May and Max do. Not just from the point that I think, you know, May and Max fight you know, a lot more than Clement and Bonnie, but I don't know. I think there's a lot more kind of care there, and maybe that's because Max is sort of such a know-it-all and feels like he doesn't need quite so much care, or he doesn't necessarily want that care, and May's perfectly happy not to provide that. It sort of comes from, you know, perhaps Brock more so as well, again as the caregiver of the group, but with Clement sort of naturally forming into that role for the whole group as well. It just sort of naturally kind of works out that he has that kind of you know, looking after the role for Bonnie as well, which again I think he does really, 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 really well, and I really do like the relationship between Clement and Bonnie. They obviously have, you know, great love, great affection for each other, and great, I think, respect for each other as well. And you rarely see them sort of you know, argue too much, or if they do, it's kind of quickly resolved and such like that. So yeah, I really like their relationship. The other thing I really like with there's loads that I like with Clement. I have very little bad to say about him. It's just that the other characters just end up being like better than him. It's just I feel like really bad that he's sort of almost only like 6th on this list. But yeah, I've got very little sort of bad stuff to say about him really. But anyway, moving on. I think he actually has a really good Pokemon team. But actually, again, one of my sort of most loved Pokemon of the series. So he's got lots of Pokemon sort of back home, if you will, at his gym with you know, with electric type Pokemon. So he's Heliolisk and Magnemite and all those ones. So I'm not going to focus so much on those. I'm going to focus, you know, just thinking probably primarily more so on the team he has travelling around with him. So, you know, Luxray, Chespin, Bumblebee. I'm not going to include the Dedenne in this. Yes, technically it's Clement's, but I'll talk about the Dedenne more when I come to talk about Bonnie. I feel like yes, while Dedenne is technically Clement's Pokemon, you know, Dedenne deserves a spot when I talk about Bonnie. Yeah, and they all have decent, and they all have really nice backstories to them as well. They're the main three. So I talked about Luxray. So when it was a Shinx and a Luxio, and seeing that relationship there, where there was a nice flashback episode where Clement promises to go back for the Pokemon, but ends up being late. Missing him, and sort of, Luxio kind of evolving to Luxray, and not say holding a grudge, but being distrusting of people, such like that, because he felt like obviously Clement had let him down, but ultimately gets past that. Let's try a fire spin, probably miss. But gets past that, and obviously is happy to join Clement on the gang. But again, a Pokemon with a really nice backstory, as opposed to perhaps anything like anything like I said with Silent. Really, I can't think of really there's much of a backstory to any of those sort of Pokemon he's got. Maybe Pansage, but Crustle / Dwebble and Stunfisk. Not as far as I could tell, as far as I can remember. But anyway, yeah, Luxray, Bunnelby. So there's a really nice sort of episode there telling how Bonnie and Clement actually met up with Bunnelby, sort of I'll say living rough in a sort of a subway train, and sort of fending for themselves, and fighting off a Diggersby and all that kind of stuff. So there's a really nice episode about how Bunnelby obviously came to become Clement's Pokemon, and Chespin as well. I mean, just. I suppose less of necessarily a backstory there, but the sort of one he sort of inherited from, the Pokemon Professor in Kalos and such like that. But there's less sort of backstory there. But I love Chespin as his characterization as a Pokemon with all his kind of like gluttonous kind of stuff. It's always very kind of nicely done. It seems far less spiteful than let's say Oshawott. For example, in Ash's Oshawott in Black and White. So yes, he is a glutton and things like that. But there's an episode where he had kind of stockpiled some of Serena's macarons, but at the end of the day, he sort of handed them out, made sure everyone got them. That was kind of really nice one. I love the fact that he's also sort of incredibly very protected. So there's an episode where again they all kind of get split up from their trainers and such like that, and I think Chespin ends up in a group with. Serena and Frogadier, I want to say at the time, and Frogadier is sort of acting as the kind of like protector and stuff like that, and Chespin gets a little bit kind of jealous and wants to kind of protect Serena as well, which is a really nice kind of sweet moment as well. And I love Chespin's kind of interactions with Pancham as well. They're kind of like quote unquote rivalry or mucking around together is kind of really nice as well. So I think I think Clement has some really really nice Pokemon that have either nice backstories or get a lot of development. I don't see any development, for instance, for Silent, the three Pokemon. I really don't. But for Clement, I think they all get a decent amount of screen time, and I think they all have some very interesting points about them. Or what else as well? Oh yes, back to science and gadgets, and others will probably bring me to Clembot as well. But I love his enthusiasm, because he's sort of like the quote unquote geek, if you will, of the group. He's sort of like not got much stamina, sort of constantly falling behind the group, sort of having to kind of carry a lot of the equipment that they're all carrying around with him. But he's not very kind of athletic, not very fit, so he's like constantly kind of at the back of the group, out of breath, can't run very far, or without just almost dying on his feet. Yes, Charmander, you can have Flamethrower. And I'm probably going to get rid of Ember, because I just don't see any point to having. I don't see any point having Ember and Flamethrower. I mean, admittedly, Ember is probably more reliable than Fire Spin, but I think Fire Spin is sort of an extra. It does more damage. It's the 2 to 5 turns thing, and also as well. So I don't think Flamethrower has the possibility to suffer a bird as well. I don't see the point in having both Ember and Flamethrower. I do want to keep Super Power. I do want to keep Seismic Toss for the moment, and I say I will keep Fire Spin, but actually. Yeah, and actually now going to the gym, I've got Flamethrower, so I probably won't even need to use Fire Spin on when I'm fighting Erica. But yeah, I don't really see the point now to having Ember and Flamethrower. So goodbye, Ember. Anyway, back to the sort of the science gadgets kind of stuff. So yeah, Clement's kind of just sort of the cancel the evolution. The kind of the slow one, kind of hanging back. But I love how enthused he gets about science and gadgets. There's a lovely episode toward the end of the final season of XYZ, the final season of the Kalos series, Gaggle of Gadget Greatness, I think it's called, where he's like the one lit at the front of the group, all really so much energy, so much excitement about kind of like showing off. Oh, I got not only that, I was expecting to have like only 3 flamethrowers because I was down to 3 embers, but I'm back up to 15 full complement of flamethrowers. Nice, wonderful. I can hang about here a bit longer now without having to go back and back to a Pokemon Center and recharge. Nice. I love his enthusiasm for all that kind of stuff. His future is now thanks to science. His catchphrase as well. I think that's probably one of the sort of the go-to. I don't want to say gimmick, but sort of catchphrase kind of thing or character trait. I certainly put it above Silence Evaluation Time, no question. I'd probably put it above Brock's, kind of like just falling in love with random women kind of thing as well. After a while, it just sort of becomes a bit. You're kind of just like waiting for either Misty or Max or Croagunk to just kind of injure him and incapacitate him and stuff like that. But I'm always excited whenever it was science time with Clement, just to see how his new invention, while on the face of it a really good idea, how bad its name would be, which Bonnie usually mocks quite humorously, but also how badly the invention is going to go. How is it going to blow up? What's going to happen? What's going to happen to it? Just so there's some variety there. Something's going to go wrong. Just how is it going to go wrong? And I think that was something to sort of more anticipation, more to look forward to than just it's evaluation time or Croagunk or Misty or Max are going to appear and drag Brock away. So I love how enthused he is with science and the gadgets and things like that. And that brings us to Clembot, who is obviously probably Clement's shining moment or best invention. And oh my goodness, when Clembot had to sort of he had to sacrifice Clembot in the Lysander arc and all that kind of thing at the end of in the sort of Team Flare arc of the final season. That broke my heart to see Clembot ultimately sacrifice himself and Clement have to do that. That was just a I want to say a wonderful moment, but a heartbreaking one. It just sort of made me feel like, or made me sort of just not quite realise how much I appreciated Clembot, and just how sad I wanted to kind of see that moment. I know he gets rebuilds and all that kind of thing, but again, it's always if you're are you replacing the original? Are you getting back who they are, or are you ultimately just replacing them with Clembot 2.0, if you will, or whatever? So. I loved sort of Clembot, and just his interactions in the gym and everything like that, kicking Ash out and all the things and stuff like that. Clembot was a wonderful invention of Clement's, and I'm just it was a wonderful seeing that kind of relationship, quote unquote relationship, if you will, as well. I also really like. I've got so many good things to say about Clement. I also really like his commitment to being a gym leader. Obviously another gym leader who goes on a journey with Ash and obviously his sister Bonnie and Serena, but I love how seriously he takes that role there. He obviously recognises Ash's strengths and when he comes up against Team Rocket at the beginning of episode 1 of that series, and wants to obviously learn from Ash in terms of like passion and such, and battling and such like that. But there's a point during, it must be the second season of XYZ, so it'll be season 18 or whatever, where he recognises that at the moment he is not a worthy opponent for Ash, at the Lumiose gym, and so goes off on a sort of on his own back to back to his gym, to go to train. And get stronger. And again, I love that. I love that he recognises and wants to develop and such like that. Where he, Yeah, yeah. The self awareness he's got, where he realises that he wants to give Ash, he wants to give Ash wants to be a worthy opponent for Ash. He recognises that he's not on Ash's level. He wants to go off and train, to do that, and ends up being a really, really great battle with Ash as well. So it was time well spent. I love his commitment there. Ultimately, there to doing that is really commendable as well. Not least because he has to obviously leave Bonnie. To go away and do this. Although he certainly trusts Ash and Serena, obviously, to take care of Bonnie. So I don't think he has any problems with leaving Bonnie in their care. And Bonnie also seemed absolutely fine with staying behind and continuing on Ash and Serena's journey. So I knew that was going to miss sooner or later. Those are all the good points. And I think honestly the only bad thing or the only sort of thing again that kind of has Clement kind of down quite a bit is again sort of perhaps so not quite enough development. I do certainly think he gets development, and certainly more so than Misty or Silent or anything or characters like that, but. And I've talked about obviously commendable in terms of recognising that he thinks he's not a worthy enough opponent for Ash, so he goes away on this. He goes back to his gym to train for that purpose. In order to become a worthy opponent. But a lot of the time, again, I feel like he doesn't quite get as much development as he deserves. So, but that really is probably the only sort of bad thing I can say. About Clement. I really like Clement. I think he's a really good character. I think he kind of probably suffers a little bit again harshly on being another discount Brock and such like that, because I don't think he quite compares to the epicness of Brock. I think, by the way, with that level up, I am going to call it there on grinding away. I've got to level 35 with Pidgeotto and 33 with Charmander now, or 36 with Pidgeotto. Fine. Are you actually going to evolve into, or going to try to evolve into Pidgeot as well? I can't remember whether 36 is your Charmander's going to try and evolve, so we'll stop him doing that. I can't remember what levels Pokemon evolve at is just absolutely terrible. I do wonder. It is. I had it right. Pidgeotto would normally evolve into Pidgeot at level 36, so I've got to cancel that evolution now as well. I think literally every evolution now, because Pikachu won't evolve when he goes up a level, because he would need a Thunderstone, and I doubt he would actually accept it anyway. But so now every bleeding time every bleeding time as any Pokemon levels up, which I'm not saying that's a bad thing, because I want my Pokemon to level up, I want them to get stronger. But every single one now I think I'm gonna have to cancel an evolution. At least for the time being now. So, in fact, Charmander to Charmeleon at some point in the game, and then Charizard will be about the only one now, I think. Or at least for a very long while. Anyway, just to sort of finish this off, I guess, as I make my way back to... so obviously back to the gym. I'm not going to do the gym battle this time, I'll say that for next time, but keep this kind of grinding away episode just to its own one. I think the only sort of bad thing I've got, the only thing I've got to negative sort of say is about Clement is I don't think he gets enough development. Certainly compared to Serena and even to Bonnie in some respect as well. So I think that he deserves a bit more, and I think ultimately that's another reason why I've sort of got him quite so, or I say so low on the list. He's in the middle, and he's not quite even top half. But I think ultimately just looking at the 5 characters we've got left. For whatever reason, just for me personally, I like those ones more than I do Clement. But I have very little bad to say about Clement. I really like, again, his sort of thankless task of being the provider for the group. He's got a really, really good Pokemon team with Pokemon that have really nice backstories and/or just and/or Chespin, who are just hilarious. His traits and stuff about science gadgets and Clembot and all that kind of thing are really great as well. So I don't know why I'm going to go in here and heal anyway. I'm not quite sure why. I think don't think there's any need to do this, but I'll do it anyway. So Clement's a really, really great character. I really do like him. But ultimately, and I think there's probably quite a gap between Misty and Clement, to be honest. But I think ultimately. Let's go and walk outside the gym. We'll end the episode there. I think ultimately, just yeah, I look at the 5 characters we've got remaining, and I just happen to like them more. But yeah, I have, as I've said numerous times, I have very, very little bad to say about Clement. Yeah, he comes in at number 6 on the list. So this is an exceptionally long video. It's probably gone to about 1 hour and 20 minutes, possibly even longer. Apologies for that. It's been a very grind-heavy episode, obviously, but hopefully, as I say, my ramblings and have been somewhat entertaining, or just to give you a bit more of an insight again to my take on the anime, my take on some of these characters, why I like them or why I don't like them, and such like that. And yeah, hopefully now I've got Pidgeotto and Charmander up to high enough levels that I'll be able to defeat Erica. I certainly hope so. Otherwise, we'll end up having to do a bit more grinding away, or I think with Pikachu as well in the mix as well. I think now I've got 3 pretty good Pokemon. Pikachu and Pidgeotto at level 36. Charmander at level 34. 33, sorry. But I'd hope those 3 should now be enough to be able to defeat Erica, and then we can move on with the anime. I'll obviously come back and do the Travelling Companion countdown again at a later point in time where I need to grind away, or even if I don't need to do much grinding away at a later point, I'll find something to do in order to actually talk about it and talk about them more, because I've got so many topics that I do want to talk about and discuss about the Pokemon anime, and indeed Pokemon games and other things as well. Favourite Pokemon, all these types of things I do want to get into. Yeah, been a very grind heavy episode. Apologies for that if you've stuck all the way through. Hopefully you've been somewhat entertained by my ramblings. And yeah, hopefully I'm now high enough to the level to defeat Erica, and next time hopefully we'll continue the story with Pokemon AshGray. So yeah, Musto0063 signing off for this exceptionally long video. And until next time, cheerio.